Welcome to this explainer. There's just an undeniable electricity in the air right now whenever we talk about the future of global soccer. The anticipation surrounding the upcoming 2026 FIFA World Cup is, well, it's absolutely massive. But as we get closer and closer to kickoff, there's this really fascinating mystery surrounding its evolving identity. So today, we're breaking down the official source documents that outline the 2026 framework. We're going to focus specifically on its two main pillars, the overarching cultural vision and the strict gameplay governance. Okay, let's dive into this directly with a core question posed right in our source material. What is the 2026 World Cup theme? For a tournament of this sheer magnitude, the aesthetic of this specific cycle is going to color absolutely everything. It'll be on every stadium, every broadcast, literally every memory made during the event. Establishing these central themes is a massive priority right now, and fans everywhere are just eager to see exactly how 2026 is going to present itself to the world.
So when we talk about aesthetic identity, what do we actually mean? Well, we're really talking about the central themes and visual concepts selected to culturally define the international tournament. It's the bridge between the host nations and the global audience. Honestly, a World Cup isn't just about logistics. It's a living, breathing cultural event. It's visual poetry. And unpacking this framework is our first major pillar today because it's the exact lens through which this entire championship will be experienced.
And this brilliantly illustrates the delicate balancing act at the very center of the 2026 cycle. On one end of the spectrum, we've got the tournament theme, that rich cultural identity and artistic vision we just talked about. But on the exact opposite side, we've got gameplay governance. That means new rules and a strict framework for how the sport is actually adjudicated. The global governing body is working hard to harmonize these two things, because actually, it takes a whole lot of rigid, unyielding rulebooks to make sure the beautiful, artistic side of the game goes off without a hitch.
Now, pivoting away from the artistic side for a second, we're stepping into the nitty-gritty framework of the game itself. The source document makes it incredibly clear that we are looking at significant regulatory shifts. And guys, this isn't just about minor tweaks around the margins. The global governing body is establishing major, sweeping changes for this specific cycle. Whenever a regulatory shift happens on a stage this huge, it requires a massive recalibration. Literally every coach, player, and referee is going to have to completely adapt their approach to the game.
Now, what's really interesting about this exact quote from our source is how bluntly it puts it. New rule for FIFA World Cup 2026. Changing an actual rule of gameplay for the World Cup, that is a monumental decision. It alters the tactics, the pacing, and the fundamental strategies of the absolute greatest teams on Earth. The source emphasizes these new rules specifically because they're going to strictly govern the gameplay during this upcoming championship. It's just a stark reminder that the beautiful game is alive, constantly adapting and evolving under the highest pressure imaginable.
But, it doesn't stop with just what happens during those 90 minutes of play. These updates represent a comprehensive look at a massive logistical evolution designed to govern the entire 2026 cycle. Think about the sheer administrative coordination required to organize a world championship of this scale. Implementing new gameplay rules alongside a unified cultural identity, that requires an incredibly sophisticated infrastructure update. The global governing body basically has to ensure that every single venue, official, and broadcast partner is perfectly synchronized with these overarching shifts.
So, the crucial point is that the 2026 World Cup is built on a really comprehensive, multifaceted foundation. These 2026 global framework updates are divided clearly into our two core areas. First, we have the central aesthetic themes being established, which pairs right up with the logistical evolution of the tournament. And then, balancing all of that out, we've got the significant regulatory shifts and the concrete new rules governing gameplay. For fans and officials alike, understanding this exact framework is absolutely essential to grasping what this new cycle is truly all about.
So why does all this matter to you? Why should we care? Well, understanding the major changes for the next World Championship is absolutely the key to fully experiencing it. You're just going to be watching another soccer match. You're going to be witnessing the debut of a brand new cultural theme and the execution of entirely new gameplay rules. Knowing this framework ahead of time, it lets you see the invisible architecture of soccer's biggest stage. It really deepens your appreciation for how the whole event is constructed, both administratively and culturally. Let's see how all of this builds into our final thought for this explainer. We've explored these two distinct pillars, right? The cultural vision on one hand and the strict governance on the other. So the ultimate question we're left with is this. How will the new aesthetic theme and these impending rule changes ultimately reshape the beautiful game in 2026? Are the new rules going to completely speed up the play?
Will the cultural theme unify a global audience in some totally new way? The framework is set, the changes are monumental, and the countdown has officially begun. Keep an eye on these developments, because this 2026 cycle promises to be unlike anything we have ever seen. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, stay curious.